Trump has demolished and demoralized the Democrats so hard that they're either in traction or therapy. We have a list of his major wins, including this bizarre, miraculous one we're going to start with. Welcome to the Doug TenNapel channel. This is where the happy patriots are, as we have documented Trump's bizarre journey to the White House, his triumphant absolute win, and now earth-shaking, history-changing administration. Everyone wants to downplay this thing as not the miracle that it is, but this is going to be one for the history books. His reformation of America, shrinking of government, putting us back on track, ending Biden corruption. It's going to be incredible. I've been involved in politics, since I first voted for Ronald Reagan in 1984. I've never seen anything like this last year. Watch. This is just a simple tweet as an example. The United States military just entered the great state of California and under emergency powers turned on the water flowing abundantly from the Pacific Northwest and beyond. The days of putting a fake environmental argument over the people are over. Enjoy the water, California. That's Trump going over Gavin Newsom's head with an emergency order, overturning environmental policy, turning the water on, bringing it down to California. This is shocking. I'm from California. This is impossible what he's done. But wait, the news gets even better. We've been documenting the cultural demise as the Democrats lose power and they get destroyed. Here over at CNN, new Jim Acosta is leaving CNN. Trump demolished MSNBC and CNN. Jim Acosta went, he was one of the first ones to stand up and start barking at Trump in 2017. And Trump said, "You're fake news, sit down, you're fake news." And now, lo and behold, no job. CNN was moving him to the midnight slot, and he was so offended by it that he said, "I'll leave the network before I take that slot." And lo and behold, they did not buckle and they kicked him out. That means that even bland oatmeal like Jim Acosta is so unappealing to CNN, they'd rather see him quit. Now, even more wins. Here's Kyle Becker over on Twitter. Look at this. Recap the presidential Donald Trump's historic first week in office. President Donald J. Trump began his second term with a flurry of executive actions. This week, he signed 35 executive orders, including revocations of 72 Biden-era orders, 44% of Biden's total that he put into effect, Trump ended. On Inauguration Day, Trump signed 26 orders, with one titled Initial Recessions of Harmful Executive Orders and Actions, revoking 68 Biden directives. By January 24th, Trump had revoked additional Biden-era orders, surpassing Biden's record of revoking 64 of Trump's orders in his first term. So Biden removed 64 of Trump's orders when he got into office. So Trump goes back and removes 68 of Biden's orders on day one. The U.S. Senate confirmed 4 of Trump's cabinet nominees on the first week: Marco Rubio, Secretary of State; John Ratcliffe, CIA Director; Pete Hegseth, Defense; and Kristi Noem, Homeland Security. Comparatively, Trump had 2 nominees confirmed his first week during his first term. There are currently 39 Article III judicial seats vacant. While Trump has yet to announce judicial appointments this term, his first term saw 234 appointments, second only to Biden's 235. So they're already set to make records. Let me real quick show you this graphic. Donald Trump, Republican, and Joe Biden, Democrat, executive order revocations 2021. There's the graphic. The red shows Trump's wins versus the blue amount for Biden. But hold on, I've got an article over at The Hill that's the best news of all. Democrats are absolutely demoralized. Going into therapy, like I said, they're falling apart. Watch this article at The Hill, and this should put a smile on your face as they reveal how horrified the Democrats are. The Hill, the memo, Trump knocks over the guardrails, deepening Democratic panic. Oh, these are the good times, my friends. President Trump is pressing full steam ahead with an agenda Democrats worry has an increasingly autocratic bent. That just means he gets his ways. That's their translation. But right now, there's not much they can do about it. News emerged late Monday afternoon that the Justice Department was firing more than a dozen officials who'd been part of an attempt to prosecute Trump, led by former special Jack Smith. The move apparently spearheaded by Trump's acting Attorney General, James McHenry. By the way, this ain't even the boss. Wait, he's just the interim one. Pam Bondi's going to eventually take this position. Looked to critics like the latest attempt by the president to take vengeance on his enemies, reward his friends, and kick away the guardrails of civil society. No, actually, he made it civil by getting rid of Jack Smith, you hack at the Hill. In his first week back in office, Trump has pardoned almost all the people convicted of January 6th related offenses, while commuting the sentences of a handful of others. The total of more than 1,500 people includes several convicted of seditious conspiracy, a false claim, and a large number found guilty of violent attacks upon police officers, barely violent, and all other violence against police officers and Black Lives Matter was largely dismissed. Trump's administration has also removed roughly 17 inspectors generals, IGs, from their roles overseeing government departments, removed security details from former government officials like John Bolton, who have crossed him, and instructed the Attorney General, the AG, to root out anything he deems to be political bias in work conducted during former President Biden's administration. It's enough to magnify the chill many Democrats felt at the possibility of Trump resuming power. This is what they truly feared was the law coming back to town. Biden, while still a candidate, warned about ultra-MAGA Republicans whom he portrayed as a danger to political norms. Former Vice President Kamala Harris held her final rally of the campaign at the Ellipse near the White House, aiming to remind voters of Trump's conduct in and around the January 21 Capitol 6th riot. It didn't work, the Hill. It did not work. Your propaganda didn't work. Your lies didn't work. It was all a giant marketing campaign. It had nothing to do with law and justice. Former President Obama warned during his campaign that Trump sees power as nothing more than a means to an ends. By the way, the entire Democrat philosophy is pragmatism. The ends justify any means. So this coming from Obama is very rich. They had their preferred ends. None of it kept Trump from winning a second term and with a better performance than in either of his two previous presidential campaigns. How do you explain that? Democrats, how do you explain that he had a better performance than his previous terms? How do you explain that? The entire media was against him. Kamala outraised him, had double the money to spend and couldn't beat him. How do you explain that? The J6 stuff didn't work. All the lies you said about him didn't work. You made him into a felon. It didn't work. You had lawfare calling him an insurrectionist. Fani Willis, they called him racist. It didn't work. Your media didn't work. Calling him a fascist didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't work. Joe Biden saying, high-tech oligarchy, it doesn't work. You lost your credibility when you opened the border and inflation went through the roof, and you looked at the people with a straight face and said, Joe Biden is sharp as ever, totally just the best, most energetic president ever. And now we find out he wasn't even running the country for 4 years. You discredited yourself, but I continue on our happy times, guys. Democrats have very little leverage to prevent Trump from enacting his agenda, given that there are GOP majorities in the Senate and the House. Again, how do you explain it? How did everyone suddenly fall in love with the GOP? Because the Democrats were so bad. They made Mike Johnson look like a radical. And that the Supreme Court has a 6-3 conservative majority, thanks in part to 3 justices Trump nominated in his first term. What are we gonna do? You guys lost everything. You've lost every leverage of power. All you have left are weirdo crybabies in Hollywood and what's left of MSNBC still pulling their weirdo. They haven't learned. MSNBC and CNN are still saying like Trump's racist, Elon Musk, Nazi salute. The same old playbook, same old script. They have no new ideas, nothing new coming from the Democratic front because they can't give up their leftist religion. Ah, so delicious. Let's keep going on this article. It's too good. I want to grind this article up and shoot it straight into my veins. For the moment, the lower courts seem to offer Democrats and liberals a faint glimmer of hope because of the Marxists that Biden and Obama have ceded to the lower courts, those lifelong appointments. When Trump announced last week he was seeking to end the concept of birthright citizenship, the automatic qualification of people born in the United States to be citizens regardless of the immigration status of their parents, 22 Democratic-led states joined lawsuits to stop him. Now, this one, the Democrats might actually have a shot at stopping Trump on ending what we call, nickname is, it's probably crude to call them anchor babies, birthright citizenship. There's an argument about it. It will probably go to the Supreme Court. We need the Supreme Court to weigh in on it. And the bottom line is, it's pretty obvious that if you're born in America, you're supposed to be an American citizen. Okay? That's just, if you, Italian immigrants, I don't care if it's Hispanics, Canadians, Europeans, whatever. The problem is it is not meant to be abused. And the abuse of that has never been tested in our courts. So the idea that you can do anchor baby flights, that is, women get pregnant in Mexico, they fly into the US, have their baby here, and their baby's an American citizen. That's an abuse. That is not what the birthright citizenship is supposed to protect. It's the same thing that we did with the First Amendment. First Amendment said, you have a right to speech. And then came people taking advantage of it. Well, can you make a threat to someone? Can you shout fire in a crowded theater, or can you personally go and threaten someone and make them feel unsafe? No, you can't. There's limits to the First Amendment. Oh, Second Amendment right to firearms, huh? Okay, so can I own a machine gun? Can I own a tank? And they just said, no, you can't own a machine gun, but you have a right to a normal firearm. So this one has not gone to the Supreme Court yet. Many constitutionalists say this is where Trump is going to get defeated, but they've also said it's never been tested. And I think common sense guys like Clarence Thomas and Sam Alito will say, no, it's obvious that birthright citizenship is not supposed to be taken advantage of by people coming over here, squatting out a child, and then the whole family gets to be citizens. But that's a possible defeat for Trump. They got a boost when John Kouvenor, a federal district judge in the Western District of Washington, ruled in their favor. Kouvenor, nominated to the federal bench by former President Reagan, paused Trump's order on the basis that it was blatantly unconstitutional. That's the old guard under Reagan. Otherwise, Democrats, for the most part, have been restricted to throwing verbal barbs in Trump's direction. Boo-hoo, I'm sure Trump, he's never been called names before. I'm sure it really keeps him up at night, Democrats. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer called Trump's actions in firing the inspectors generals a chilling purge. And what is purge supposed to remind you of? Okay. He contended was, quote, a preview of the lawless approach Trump and his administration is taking far too often as he's becoming president, unquote. Senator Amy Klobuchar, Democrat, Minnesota, responded to the same event by calling it alarming, posting on social media. That's all she could do is run a tantrum. Quote, this is what you do when you don't want someone watching what you're doing, on his removing the inspector generals. No, the inspector generals were all so corrupt that Trump said they weren't trustworthy. After Trump announced his mass clemency for people convicted or charged for January 6 related offenses, Rep. Nancy Pelosi, oh boy, we're digging way back there. She looks like a pterodactyl wing stretched over a human skeleton. The House Speaker at the time of the riot accused him of acting in a shameful way and delivering an outrageous insult to our justice system. Influential voices in the border the broader liberal community have sounded even more ominous notes. Yeah, the amount of exaggeration they do just has no end. Former Biden White House press secretary Jen Psaki, ginger, redhead, peppermint patty, albino, river dance, Jen Psaki, hosted Norm Eisen on her MSNBC show on Sunday. I know what you and I are both thinking. Who? Eisen, a White House ethics lawyer during the Obama administration. Wow, there's a oxymoron. White House ethics lawyer during the Obama administration. Ooh, the universe almost just unraveled and just came apart at the incongruity of that statement. We almost lost the whole universe just saying White House ethics lawyer during the Obama administration. And a well-known liberal commentator alleged Trump had, quote, promised to be a dictator on day one, and he's carried that forward through the entire week, including his midnight firing of the inspectors general. Oh, he's a dictator. Can we do Project 2025 yet? When does Project 2025 start? I just want to know. I haven't seen Trump reading it enough. Trump and his supporters dismiss all such charges, of course. Senator Lindsey Graham was asked Sunday on NBC's Meet the Press whether Trump had violated the law in firing the inspectors general without giving Congress 30 days notice and a specific reason for his actions, a mandate by a 2022 law. Quote, technically, yeah, but he has the authority to do it, the South Carolina senator responded. Graham, the reason why he has the authority to do it is because it's under the executive branch. So all Department of Justice, all those jobs, they're technically under the presidency. They're not more important than the presidency. That's all. It's under his authority. I think Scott Jennings made that point too. Lindsey Graham, like the vast majority of Republicans, argued Trump was clear about his intentions during the election campaign and now has a mandate to do all the things that are illicit howls of president from Democrats. Yeah, he warned everyone. He said exactly, he's just doing what he said he would do. The most fervent Trump backers, far from seeing themselves as acting outside of Democrat norms, contend they are correcting what they see as the excesses and weaponization of the Biden era. Thank you. That is so true. Kash Patel, the president's nominee as head of the FBI, told Steve Bannon during 2023 podcast that a future Trump administration would, quote, come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, like pro-lifers. Patel alleged falsely that these unnamed but shadowy figures had, quote, helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. Patel's confirmation hearing before the Senate Judiciary Committee is scheduled for this coming Thursday, guys. This week is Kash Patel week. For now, it's a bleak picture for Democrats and other liberal critics of Trump. Guys, that means America is safe and secure. He is forging ahead, and his opponents have no way to pull the brakes. Oh, guys, I just brought you too much good news. We don't deserve this. We got to pray for Trump. Are you praying for Trump? Lord, protect Trump. Give him light, give him your truth, and then put wings on his feet to run even faster. I'm Doug in exile.